right, let's dive right in. Today, we're jumping back in time to explore a document that was so much more than just a list of rules. It was the moral playbook for a revolution, an attempt to shape the very soul of a new nation. We're talking about the Kartilya ng Katipunan. This is going to be good.
And hey, before we get started, I want to give a huge, warm shout out to the freshmen of Romblon State University San Fernando campus. This explainer was made just for you guys, and I am so excited to dig into this amazing piece of our history with you. So get comfortable, because this is seriously fascinating stuff.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll see what made the Katipunan's revolution totally different from what came before. Then, we'll meet the young genius who actually wrote the code. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the rules themselves, read between the lines to find their hidden meanings, and wrap up with why this thing still matters today. Let's start with what made this revolution so unique.
So, what was the big deal with the Katipunan, or the KKK? Well, for the first time in Philippine history, here was a group that wasn't just fighting for local change. They were imagining one single, united Filipino nation completely free from Spain. That, right there, was a total game changer.
This slide really lays it all out. You see, before the Katipunan, revolts were usually pretty local. I mean, think about someone like Diego Silang, a true hero for sure, but his goal was to be king of Ilocos, not the president of a united Philippines. And then you had the brilliant ilustrados, the educated class like Jose Rizal. They were fighting for reforms for the Philippines to become an actual province of Spain. But the Katipunan, they came in and said, nope, we're past that. We don't want reform, we want a divorce. Total independence for one Filipino nation. It was a huge leap in thinking that really lit the fuse for a national revolution.
So who was the mind behind these powerful words, the words that would guide an entire movement? Well, this is where the story gets even more incredible. It wasn't some old, seasoned general. It wasn't a world-weary philosopher. Get this, he was a teenager. Let's meet the man, the legend, Emilio Jacinto.
Just look at this timeline for a second. Jacinto jumps into the revolution at 18, while he's a law student. Just a couple of years later, he writes the Kartilya, which becomes the moral compass for everyone. By the time he's 22, the leader of the entire revolution, Andres Bonifacio, makes him a commander. And then, so tragically, his incredible life is cut short by malaria when he's just 24. For all you students watching, just imagine accomplishing all of that before you even hit 25. It's just, wow. It really speaks to his amazing mind and passion.
This quote says it all, doesn't it? Andres Bonifacio, the Supremo, the founder of the Katipunan, he had already written his own rulebook, the Decalogue. But when he read what the young Jacinto had written, he basically said, you know what? This is better. He set his own work aside for the good of the cause and made Jacinto's Kartilya the official teachings. That shows you not only how brilliant Jacinto was, but also how humble Bonifacio was. He was all about the best idea no matter where it came from.
Okay. Now we get to the core of it all, the 14 rules of the Kartilya. But this wasn't just a simple do this, don't do that list. No, this was a whole philosophy on how to live a good life, how to be a person of real character, and how to build a just society, all while fighting a war for freedom. So all 14 rules can pretty much be broken down into two main ideas. The first is all about you. How to build yourself up into an honorable, purposeful person. And the second part is about how you deal with everyone else, how to create a community that's built on respect and equality. Let's look at a few examples from each. This first theme is all about living a life that matters. Rule I is just so beautiful and poetic, right? A life without a noble purpose is like a tree that gives no shade. It's useless. It's a call for each of us to find our why. And then Rule 7 sounds like it could be written today. Do not waste thy time. For you as students, this is huge. Your time is the one thing you can never get back. And then Rule 8, that's the call to action. Defend the oppressed and fight the oppressor. That was the heart and soul of their entire struggle. Okay, next up, honor. Now you have to remember, the Katipunan was a secret society. One slip up, one person who couldn't be trusted could get everyone killed. So trust was everything. Your word had to be your bond. Rule 6 says it so clearly. To the honorable man, his word is sacred. And Rule 9 adds that practical layer of wisdom for a secret movement: no one to talk, and maybe more importantly, no one to keep a secret. For these guys, honor wasn't just a nice idea, it was a survival tool. This theme might be the most mind-blowing of them all for that time. Take a look at Rule 4. Whether our skin be black or white, we are all born equal. Think about that. In a colonial system built on a racial pyramid with light-skinned Spaniards at the top and brown-skinned Filipinos or Indios at the bottom, this was an explosive declaration of human equality. Rule 12 is basically their version of the Golden Rule, extending that empathy to everyone's family. And Rule 13, that's a direct shot at the whole colonial system. It's saying your worth doesn't come from a fancy title or your skin color. It comes from your character, from being a person of proven and real value. So powerful. So we've gone through the rules, but to really get the Kartilya, you gotta read between the lines. What was it pushing back against? What big ideas from around the world were influencing it? What kind of society were the Katipuneros dreaming of? Let's dig a little deeper.
This table helps us see the bigger picture. We already saw how the Kartilya was a direct clapback to the racist colonial hierarchy, pushing for equality instead. But it was also connected to the rest of the world. Ideas about reason, liberty, and freedom from events like the French Revolution were spreading, and educated Filipinos like Jacinto soaked them up. You can totally see that influence. And then there's the whole topic of women, which was, well, it was complicated. This is Rule 11, and it's so important to unpack. On the one hand, this is incredibly forward-thinking. It's telling men to stop treating women like objects or playthings and instead see them as faithful companions who share in all of life's hardships. That's a massive step up. But it wasn't perfect by today's standards. Another rule, Rule X, says that man is the guide of woman and the children, which still sets up a patriarchal system where the man is in charge. And this is where context is everything. Yeah, it's imperfect if we look at it with our 21st century eyes. But we can't do that. For the 1890s, when women had very few rights anywhere in the world, this idea of a woman as a respected partner was revolutionary, and they backed it up with action. The Katipunan actually had its own women's unit, recognizing how crucial women were to the fight. Okay, so we've analyzed the history, the rules, the hidden meanings. Let's bring it home. Why on earth should a document written over 125 years ago still matter to us? Especially to you as young Filipinos figuring out your place in the world. What's its lasting legacy? It all comes back to this number, 14. Just 14 short rules. But they were never just about how to fight a war. They were a blueprint for a brand new Filipino identity. The Katipunan knew that to build an independent country, you first had to build a people worthy of that freedom, a people connected by honor, by dignity, and by a deep, deep love for their nation. And that leaves us with a really big question to think about. We've seen the values they were willing to die for. So how can we, right here, right now, take those same core values, honor in everything we do, equality in how we treat each other, and purpose in our lives, to continue that work? How can we use their code to help build a better, more just Philippines? That's the challenge the Kartilya leaves for every single one of us. And now we're at our final section. And this one is all about you, the awesome students of RSU SFC. I really hope this explainer helped you see just how deep and powerful the Kartilya really is. But hey, the journey doesn't have to end here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It was honestly a privilege to go through this with all of you at Romulan State University, San Fernando campus. Now it's your turn. Please go and show some love to your class YouTube channel, No Problem Only Solution. Hit that subscribe button because there are going to be more explainers like this coming all semester long. Keep asking those big questions and keep looking for that noble purpose. Thanks again for being here.